I know how that title sounds. Overdramatic clickbait. Maybe if you've ever been woken at 2:47 a.m. by your father-in-law standing over you, while his son sleeps beside you, and whispering something that shatters everything you thought was safe, you'd understand. My name is Tyler Ward. I'm 33 years old. And until 2 months ago, I thought I had a solid life. Not perfect, but decent. I had a job at a mid-sized finance firm outside of Denver. I had a 2-year-old son named Nico, who was obsessed with dinosaurs and string cheese. And I had a wife, Samantha Sam for short, who I thought I knew. But then her father, Gerald, showed up in the middle of the night and whispered something in my ear that I will never forget. I'll get to that moment. But to understand what happened, you need context. Gerald was never warm. The kind of man who'd shake your hand but look at your shoes. He ran some kind of family logistics company in Indiana, but no one really knew what that meant. Samantha warned me early in our relationship. My dad's old school. Like mafia movie old school. Just smile and nod. So I did. For 5 years of marriage, I played the part. Holidays, birthdays, polite phone calls, even when he gave me weird advice like, never trust a man who owns a boat but can't swim. I brushed it off. He was eccentric, controlling, but he loved his daughter, right? I was wrong. 2 months ago, Gerald called out of the blue. Said he was passing through Colorado. Asked if he could stay a night. Sam was thrilled. She lit candles, made lasagna, pulled out the nice wine glasses we got at our wedding. And that night, everything felt off. At dinner, he kept looking at Nico, not smiling, watching. Then he asked me about my job. How's that corporate ladder climbing, Tyler? I laughed awkwardly. Same as always. Spreadsheets and fake smiles. He didn't laugh. He just nodded, sipped his wine, and said, must be tough, pretending every day. What did that mean? That night, we all went to bed early. Nico was fussy with a fever, so Sam stayed in his room a bit longer. Around 2:30 a.m., I felt something. A presence. I opened my eyes. Gerald was standing in our bedroom, in the dark, hands in the pockets of his blazer like he didn't even care how creepy this was. I jolted up. What the? He put a finger to his lips. Don't wake her. Then he walked around to my side of the bed, bent down close. His breath smelled like aftershave and scotch, and he whispered, Tyler, you need to disappear. Today. Don't pack a bag. Don't say goodbye. Just walk out that door and never look back. I stared at him, blinking. Was this a joke? He stood up straight, looked at me one last time, and added, if you stay, you'll go down for what she did. Then he walked out. I didn't sleep after that. I just lay there, heart pounding, every breath louder than the one before it. At 6 a.m., I made coffee. Sam came downstairs with Nico, all smiles. I studied her. Was this the same woman who sang Itsy Bitsy Spider in the bathtub with our son? What's wrong? She asked. I lied. Said I had a weird dream. Said I'd go into work early, but instead of going to the office I went to a friend. Ryan, my college roommate, now a lawyer. I told him everything. And when I finished, he looked at me for a long time and said, Tyler, you might be in deeper than you think. That's when we pulled public records. Started with Samantha, nothing. Clean. Then we searched her name with her maiden name, and that's when things got weird. A property transfer in 2017 from someone named Claire Hathaway, Samantha Geraldine Ward. Except Samantha never mentioned a Claire Hathaway. The property, a warehouse in northern Indiana. Guess who signed as a witness? Gerald Hathaway. And suddenly, I remembered something. 3 years ago, Samantha disappeared for a week. Said it was a wellness retreat. No phones allowed. That was the same week the transfer happened, and now Gerald was in my house, warning me to run. I didn't run. Not yet. Instead, I went home and waited. That night, I asked Samantha casually, hey babe, you ever heard of Claire Hathaway? She froze. Just for a second, but I caught it. No. Why? I saw an email in your spam folder. It mentioned her. She smiled. Tight. Must be junk. I don't know her, but I saw the lie. It was right there, sitting under her skin. That night, I slept on the couch. And while the house was quiet, I used her laptop. I didn't need a password. It was still logged into an email account I didn't recognize, under the name C.G. Hathaway, and in her drafts folder and sent, but still saved was a single message, addressed to someone named K. Whitlock. He still doesn't know. But if this goes south, make sure it all points to Tyler. My father will know what to do. I woke up to the sound of soft knocking. At first, I thought I was dreaming. It was 2:17 a.m., pitch black, and my wife Emily was asleep beside me, but then I heard it again. 4 precise knocks, slow and deliberate, almost rehearsed. I rubbed my eyes and walked barefoot to the front door. We lived in a quiet suburb outside Denver, a place where nothing ever happened. Not at 2 a.m., not ever. When I opened the door, I nearly dropped. It was Frank, my father-in-law, and he was holding a duffel bag, bleeding from his left hand. "Don't ask," he whispered. "Just let me in. Now, let me say this. Frank is not the kind of man you say no to. Retired Marine. Quiet, gruff, mows his lawn at 6 a.m. sharp every Saturday. Never hugs. Never yells. Just watches, like he's waiting for something. Still half asleep, I stepped aside. He didn't explain, just sat on our couch, placed the duffel bag on the coffee table, and said, "You love my daughter, right?" "Of course." He nodded once, like that was enough. Then he unzipped the bag. Inside were 3 things: a burner phone, a small leather notebook, a revolver, and beneath all that, stacks of cash, hundreds, maybe thousands. My stomach dropped. "What the hell is this?" I whispered. Frank lit a cigarette. First one I'd ever seen him smoke. "I need you to drive to Flagstaff tomorrow," he said. "Alone?" "No, Emily. No one." "Drop the phone in a trash bin at a gas station on I-40. Page 19 in the notebook will tell you which one. Then go to the address on page 34. Knock twice. Say nothing." I stared at him like he'd lost his mind. "Frank, what are you talking about? Are you in danger? Should I call?" "No," he snapped. "No cops. No questions. You do this, or Emily gets hurt." Silence. He took a long drag, eyes never leaving mine. I nodded slowly. "You're threatening your own daughter." "I'm protecting her," he said quietly. "From people who don't play by the rules." Then he stood. "I'll be gone by the time you wake up. Don't tell her I came. Don't let her see this bag. Don't tell anyone, not a soul." And just like that, he left. I didn't sleep. I sat staring at that bag like it was radioactive. By sunrise, Emily was making coffee, humming some indie folk song. I watched her move around the kitchen, and all I could think was, what does Frank know that I don't? I lied and told her I had a client meeting out of town. She kissed me goodbye, said love you, like everything was normal. I hit the road by 11 a.m. I was in rural Arizona, heat shimmering off the road. I found the gas station listed on page 19 and dumped the burner phone as instructed. That's when I noticed something. In the notebook, right before page 34. It was a Polaroid, wedged between pages, old, faded. It was a picture of Emily, except she looked younger, maybe 14 or 15. She was sitting next to a man I didn't recognize, bearded, smiling too hard. Something about his hand placement made my skin crawl. Behind them, someone had scribbled in pen, "Find him before he finds her." I almost threw up. The address on page 34 was a cabin in the woods, middle of nowhere. When I got there, I knocked twice. A woman opened the door. Short hair, gun on her hip. No questions asked. She ushered me inside. "You're late," she said. "Name?" "Daniel." She paused. "That's not your real name." "No, it's not." She smiled like that was the right answer, then pointed to a chair. "Sit. We've got work to do." I had no idea what I was doing. I was a software developer, not some Jason Bourne wannabe. But here I was, sitting in a room with a stranger, and a notebook full of cryptic addresses, shady names, and warnings like, "Trust no one after the motel." Not even her. Her was that about Emily. The woman handed me a file. "These are your targets. You're not expected to do anything. Just identify." I opened the file, and my blood turned to ice. The man from the Polaroid was in there. But so was another photo. It was Emily, same smile, same eyes, except the caption read, "Asset compromised. Level 2 clearance. Monitor for activation." I stood up. "What the hell is this? Who are you people?" She didn't blink. "Just be glad Frank trusted you. He never does that." And right then, it hit me, this wasn't about me protecting Emily. It was about Emily protecting someone else, and Frank. He knew something she didn't. Or maybe something she didn't know he knew. Either way, I was caught in the middle of a war I didn't understand, and I wasn't sure who the enemy was. I didn't sleep at all. I just lay there, eyes open, staring at the faint light peeking through the blinds, waiting for the world to start up again. When the sun came up, Michael stirred beside me and reached for his phone. No missed calls. Number, texts. And still no sign of his dad. He just shrugged. Probably went back to his cabin. You know how he is. That's the thing, I didn't know how he was. I barely knew him. We'd met 3 times before the wedding. He was always polite, always smiling, always distant, the kind of man who said it's fine even when it clearly wasn't single quotes T. But now I was sure of one thing. Last night wasn't a dream. After Michael left for his morning meetings, I went outside and made a big show of looking around the cabin grounds. There were no fresh tire marks, no signs of anyone leaving in a hurry, no note. Then I went into the woods, the same way he came from last night. It was about half a mile of winding brush and pine needles before I found it, a tiny shed, almost invisible under the trees. The lock was old, rusty. The door, slightly ajar. Inside, nothing but an old cot, a stack of firewood, and a coffee can filled with cash. And on the cot, a note written in shaky cursive, "For you. Tell no one, no name, no explanation." Just that. I sat down hard on the floor. My heart was hammering again. What was this? Why me? And where the hell had he gone? That night, I didn't tell Michael anything. I stuffed the envelope into my duffel bag and said I went for a hike. But the weird thing was, he didn't ask. Not once, in fact. He seemed relaxed, calmer than usual, until his phone buzzed. He read the text and froze. Then he got up, said he needed to make a call, and went outside. I stayed by the window. It wasn't just a call. He was pacing, his voice raised, his arms flailing. All I could make out was, "You said it was done." "No, she doesn't know. He promised me, I don't care. He's gone." When he came back inside, he smiled like nothing happened, but I couldn't stop staring at him. Because that wasn't the voice of someone worried about his missing dad. That was the voice of someone panicking about a plan falling apart. And then, something clicked, the whisper in the night. The money, the fear. My father-in-law didn't come to warn me. He came to beg me to get away from his son. The next morning, I called in sick. Said I had a migraine. Michael left early again, barely looking at me. I waited until his car was gone. Then I opened the envelope fully. There was more than just cash in the lining. Tucked into the seam was a folded piece of paper. It was a receipt from a private investigator. Attached to it was a flash drive, taped to the inside with the words, "Don't show him," written in all caps. I didn't hesitate. I plugged it into my laptop. What I saw made my stomach flip. Photos. Dozens of them. Time-stamped, dated, tagged with names I didn't recognize. Michael, meeting with men I'd never seen. Michael, entering a warehouse. Michael, loading something into the back of his car at 2 a.m. Then screenshots of texts. All of them, encrypted, with just Michael's number visible. But the messages were crystal clear. If he talks, we bury him. She can't know. If she finds out, I swear I'll handle it. I'll do it myself. Like I did with Claire. Claire, the name meant nothing at first. Until I realized Claire was Michael's ex. The one he said left him for someone else. But what if she hadn't? What if Michael had done something to her? I scrolled through the files faster, my breath catching. One photo nearly made me scream. It was me standing in the grocery store parking lot last week. Alone, unaware, looking over my shoulder. The photo had a tag under it, "Green light if needed." I slammed the laptop shut and backed away. This wasn't a warning. This was a map, a survival plan, and my in-law. He wasn't just trying to protect me. He was running from his own son. That night, I played it cool. Pretended nothing was wrong. Michael came home late, gave me a soft kiss on the forehead and handed me flowers. Just because, he said, but I saw it in his eyes. He knew something had changed, and he was trying to reel me back in. Later, when he was in the shower, I opened his drawer. Carefully, quietly, and I found the second phone. The burner, hidden under his winter sweaters in the back of the closet. I turned it on, and what I saw on that screen confirmed everything. My name, my location, my schedule, tracked to the minute, and one last message. Unread. Handle it this weekend. Before she finds him. His father. The man who disappeared into the woods. And I suddenly understood. This wasn't just about money. Or power. Michael was cleaning up loose ends. And I was the last one left. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? After Ethan left, I sat there in the dark, my hands trembling, trying to understand what kind of man I married into, and what kind of family I'd joined. The following morning, I packed a bag not just for me, but for Mia too. I didn't know where we'd go, but I knew where we couldn't stay. At 7:42 a.m., I received a call from Martin. I froze. Not because I was afraid, but because I wasn't sure what he'd say. I answered. His voice was cold, controlled. Meet me. Just you. 10 minutes. Park by Crescent Hill. Then he hung up. I didn't want to go. Every cell in my body told me to run, but something told me this was bigger than Ethan, bigger than revenge. When I got there, Martin was sitting on a bench, hands folded, no expression. You brought your daughter into a family you don't understand, he said. I blinked. You think I didn't notice something was wrong? He sighed. No, I think you noticed too late. I sat down, kept a small distance. Why are you doing this, Martin? Because you're the only one who still has a conscience. I didn't respond. I couldn't. He went on. Ethan, my son, wasn't always like this, but somewhere along the way, he got greedy. And I let it happen. His voice cracked. You know what changed everything? The day my wife died, that's when he stopped seeing people as people, and started seeing them as leverage. I swallowed hard. Martin pulled out a flash drive. On this are files, account transfers, offshore funds, emails, texts, Ethan's entire paper trail, and my confession too. My breath caught. Why give this to me? Because I'm not going to be around much longer. I turned. What are you saying? He smiled sadly. Liver cancer. Stage 4. A year, if I'm lucky. I didn't know what to feel. This man, who showed up in my bedroom like a ghost, now handing me the truth like a final will. I've arranged everything. If anything happens to me, or you, this goes public. He looked me in the eye. Burn the empire down, Emily, and rebuild something better for your daughter. I blinked back tears, then he stood. Walked away slowly, as if gravity itself was heavier. That night, I didn't go home. I checked into a small hotel under a different name, slept beside Mia in a bed that smelled of bleach and old hope. I stared at the ceiling, holding the flash drive to my chest, and for the first time in weeks, I felt something like power. The next morning, I went to someone I hadn't seen in years, Tasha Rivera. Old college roommate. Now a cybersecurity analyst at a private firm in Chicago. She owed me, and she paid her debts within 2 hours. We had everything decrypted. Ethan had been laundering money through a network of fake charities. Martin had helped cover it up. So had 3 of Ethan's closest advisors. I felt sick, but also angry. And, ready? Tasha leaned back in her chair. You want to go public with this? I nodded. Anonymous whistleblower drop. All of it, tonight, she smiled. You're playing with fire. I stared at the screen, thinking of Mia's face, peaceful and unaware. Good, let it burn. That night, while the world slept, we uploaded everything. Financial documents, evidence of embezzlement, video recordings of private meetings. By 5 a.m., hashtag Ethan Thorne exposed was trending on X. By 8 a.m., his office building was surrounded by reporters. By noon, the FBI was at his door. But the story wasn't over. Because while the empire crumbled, Ethan wasn't going down without fight. By sunset, the world knew. Stockholders were bailing. News outlets were circling like vultures. And Ethan, he was spiraling. I got the first call around 6:15 p.m. What did you do, Emily? His voice was manic. Desperate, almost slurred. You think you're clever? You think this makes you a hero? I didn't say anything. Because part of me didn't recognize the voice on the other end anymore. You think they'll believe you over me? You're nothing without me. Then came the line that told me everything. You forget I still have access to Mia. My heart dropped. Don't you dare, I snapped. But he'd already hung up. I moved fast. Tasha helped me encrypt all my devices. I called the hotel and had them change my room twice. Then I contacted Martin, or I tried to. No answer. By 10 p.m., I was driving across town to his apartment, Mia bundled up in the back seat. Something wasn't right. I felt it deep in my chest like a stone. When I got there, the door was unlocked. Martin was slumped over in the living room chair, a bottle of sleeping pills on the floor, an envelope on the table, addressed to me. No pulse, no breath, nothing. I called 911, but I already knew. He was gone. I sat in silence while the paramedics did their job. The coroner left with the body. The apartment was still. Dusty echoed like a tomb. Then I opened the envelope. Inside, a short letter, and a photo of Martin with his late wife. The letter read, "Emily, I know this is the coward's way, but I had to go on my terms. I failed my son, but I won't fail my granddaughter. You are her light now. Protect her, even from Ethan. Especially from Ethan, love, Martin." I cried, quietly, fully. Finally, the funeral was small. Private, closed casket, no headlines, no speeches. Just a man whose last act was trying to right his life's wrongs. Ethan didn't attend. He couldn't, he was under federal investigation. But he sent flowers, white lilies, and a card. "Tell Mia Grandpa loved her." It made my stomach turn. But Ethan still had one move left. A week later, I was served custody papers. He was suing for full custody of Mia, claiming I was mentally unfit, vindictive, economically unstable. He even cited Martin's suicide, twisting it into a sign of my destructive influence. I should have been scared. But I wasn't, because I still had one thing Ethan didn't: the truth. Court hearings began quickly. His lawyers were brutal, painted me as manipulative, emotionally unstable, and bitter over the failed marriage. But then, I took the stand, and so did Tasha and 2 former employees from Ethan's company, who had just flipped under pressure. One after another, the truth poured out. About the embezzlement, about Martin's involvement, eventual whistleblowing, about how Ethan had threatened me. Then came the twist. Ethan got desperate, tried bribing a court officer. It was caught on video, leaked within hours. The judge issued a gag order, then revoked Ethan's visitation rights on the spot. The custody case collapsed. Ethan was arrested again, this time for witness tampering and obstruction. His bail was denied. And just like that, the war was over. But the healing, that took time. It took long walks with Mia, telling her gentle versions of the truth. It took therapy, late nights crying into a pillow, early mornings reminding myself we were safe now. One day at a time, I visited Martin's grave on the 1-year anniversary of his passing. I brought Mia with me. She placed a single flower down and whispered, "Thank you, Grandpa." And in that moment, I swear I felt something warm in the wind. The first time I met Agent Larson, he wasn't wearing a badge. He wore jeans, a flannel shirt, held a baby in one arm, and whispered to me at the grocery store. The bakery camera saw everything. "Don't go home." I thought I was hallucinating. I dropped my basket. I tried to ask who he was, but he was already gone. That night, I didn't go home. I checked into a roadside motel under a fake name. I didn't sleep. I didn't shower. I didn't eat. My phone was still in pieces. I used the motel's computer to search the bakery robbery. Nothing. No news, no arrest, no police report. Like it never happened, until a blocked number called the motel landline. "Don't hang up," the voice said. "I'm Larson, you're in danger." My hands trembled. From who? Your father-in-law, for starters. Agent Larson had been tracking Dominic for months. He wasn't just some sketchy guy who offered weird advice and hated his son. He was part of something massive. An old money laundering ring, cash businesses, smuggling, and now, thanks to my marriage to Josh, I was involved too. "They've been using your name, your accounts, your bakery as cover," Larson said. "Your father-in-law needed you desperate. That's why he let your marriage fall apart. That's why he gave you money. And took it back. So he could look like the hero while keeping you trapped." I couldn't breathe. I remembered the tears, the sleepless nights, the whispers. The night he showed up at my apartment and pressed that box into my hands. "No matter what happens, don't open it until I'm gone." What was in that box? What did he do to me? Larson gave me a burner phone, no texting, no internet, just direct calls to him. He told me to act normal, to go back home. "You'll be bait, but we'll keep eyes on you." I asked him how I could ever trust anyone again. He said, "You can't. Not until this is over." I went home. Josh was waiting. He said he was sorry for everything, that he'd talked to his dad, and everything was going to be okay now. He kissed my forehead like nothing ever happened. I looked him in the eye and smiled. Then, I went to the closet and took out the box. It was still sealed. That same worn twine. That same wax seal with the monogrammed D. I took a deep breath and opened it. Inside, a stack of documents. Property deeds, bank account transfers, fake passports, security codes. A USB drive labeled, "Insurance." There was a note, "If you're reading this, I'm already gone. Don't trust Josh. Don't trust his mother. Run." I ran to the bathroom and threw up my entire life. My marriage, my bakery. It wasn't real, it was staged, and now I had to choose. Turn them in, or disappear forever. I held the USB drive in my hand like it was a ticking bomb. Agent Larson told me not to open it. He said, "We'll handle the evidence. Just keep pretending." But how was I supposed to pretend now? I had the truth in my hands, and the truth was Dominic didn't just use me. He built me like a puppet, like a Trojan horse. Inside that drive was a folder titled Plan, Aurora. At first, I didn't understand what it meant. Then I opened the PDFs. Dozens of them, labeled with my name, each with details about my social security number, my bakery, permits. My bank statements, even my marriage certificate to Josh. Every milestone of my life had been planted. Dominic's organization designed my life to be perfect on paper so they could launder money, shift assets, and fake legitimacy under my name. They didn't just need me desperate, they needed me clean, wholesome, believable, lovable. So when the time came, I could take the fall. I stared at my wedding photos. Josh was smiling. I was laughing, but now I saw it. In his eyes, he wasn't marrying me. He was deploying me. And Dominic, he was watching the whole thing unfold like a proud commander sending his best weapon to war. "You were never the target," Agent Larson said when I called him, crying. "You were the weapon." I should have left right then, but I needed answers. I needed to see Dominic one last time, so I did something reckless. I told Josh I wanted to host a dinner, a reconciliation meal, just the three of us. He grinned. "I knew you'd come around," he said. That night, I cooked like I used to, lit candles, poured wine, wore the dress Josh said was his favorite, and I waited. Dominic arrived late, as always, but when he walked in, he paused. He looked at me too long. His smile faded, then he said it. "You opened it, didn't you?" I didn't answer. Josh laughed awkwardly. "What are you talking about, Dad?" But Dominic kept staring. Then quietly, "She knows." Josh turned to me. "What's he saying?" But I just stood and walked to the table. I placed the USB drive between us. Then I looked Dominic in the eye and whispered, "Game's over." He didn't flinch, he just sighed, almost relieved. Then he said the last thing I ever expected. "I never wanted this for you." I stared at Dominic, frozen. "I never wanted this for you," he repeated. The man who once stood in my doorway with a casserole and a quiet smile was now admitting he had built me to be disposable. A cleaner. A shell. But the worst part, I believed him when he said he didn't want it to go this far. Josh was pacing now, angry, confused. "Dad, what are you talking about? She doesn't know anything." Dominic didn't even look at him. Instead, he turned back to me, his eyes softened. "It was supposed to be cleaner. You were meant to live rich, safe, unaware. But then you started asking questions. You didn't stay small. You grew." My throat tightened. "You could have stopped," I said. "You could have let me go." He nodded. "I could have. But you weren't the fire escape anymore. You were the fire." Suddenly, the front door shattered open. FBI. Guns raised. Dominic didn't flinch. Josh screamed, "What the hell is this?" They tackled them both to the ground. Josh was shouting, "Dad, say something, Dad." But Dominic just looked at me and smiled. Not cruelly, almost proudly. "At least," he whispered, "I didn't waste you." Then they took him away. And just like that, the house was quiet. The trial made headlines. Turns out Aurora wasn't just me, it was an entire system. Women like me, all across the country, picked for their broken beginnings and picture-perfect surfaces, built into wives, workers, cover stories. We were never meant to find each other. But some of us did, and when we did, we burned everything down. A year later, I was standing in the same bakery where I once made sugar roses with my name on the window. But now, it had a new name, Ash and Bloom. Because even things that burn down can grow again. I still get letters from other women, ones who saw the trial, ones who were part of Aurora. One wrote me this: "I thought I was just a pretty face with no past, but now I know I was the smokescreen. Thank you for showing us the fire." So, if you're wondering why I stayed silent so long, why I kept pretending I was just a wife, a baker, a daughter-in-law, it's because I wasn't ready to be anything else. But now I'm ready. Because once upon a time, My father came to me in the middle of the night and handed me a key. He thought he was unlocking control, but he accidentally opened the door to his own destruction.